Welcome to YOUCANIC. Today here in YOUCANIC we have a 2016 Dodge Journey, and we're going to go over how you would change the oil. Now we are changing the oil on a 3.6 V6 motor, which is called a 3.6 Pentastar motor. This Pentastar motor is in a lot of Dodge Chrysler products, as well as the Volkswagen Routan, which is the Volkswagen van. So this procedure of changing the engine oil will be very common amongst all the 3.6 Pentastar motors. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a different variation on the motor attachment, but everything else is laid out the same. So this is your oil filler cap, and right below this we can twist this off, and then that way we get access to replace the oil filter. But this thing is just as easy to just pop the little grommets off that hold it down, which are these there, and then we'll just set this to the side, and now we have more access to be able to get to our oil filter cap. So due to this, it's an oil filter on the top. We're just going to go ahead and replace the oil filter now, then we'll drain the oil, and then we will add fresh oil. So this oil filter, the nut here, and this is just a plastic housing. Now this nut here is 24 millimeter. Just because it's 24 doesn't mean that it's on there very tight, and nor should it be really tight. You just want to get that to seat down when you're tightening it, and just a small slight turn when it's seated down there. It's got O-rings in there that keep everything the way it needs to be. So we're going to loosen this. We're just getting the plastic resistance. Okay. So we're able to loosen and pull this out, and the whole filter's coming with it. All right. Now, one thing you just want to make sure is when you're looking at, before you put the new one in, is that there's an O-ring on the bottom. And I'll show you on the new one, but you want to make sure that O-ring came out so that when you put the new one in, you can see that. And then there's an O-ring here that we're going to take off and put a fresh O-ring on top here. So you just pull this out, and you just pull the filter away from it, and just discard it according to your local state rules and laws on that. So then we want to pull this O-ring off, because we got a new one in with the filter, and we should always put new ones on. And see, we have this, that's the O-ring, and just make sure the old one you took out, that there was an O-ring on there. And then we're going to press that in, and it kind of snaps and holds in place, and then take our new O-ring, or you can put the O-ring on before. But we're going to take our new O-ring, and you're going to work that down here into this channel, and then we just get some oil lubricant, fresh oil, or a little bit out of there, to just make sure that this O-ring's lubricated, and this O-ring, so that when we press it in, it'll go in there. So then you just install and tighten this up. Now this says 25 Newton meters. I don't exactly know what that converts to the foot-pounds, but it's really not much. So once you get this black plastic sealed to the other plastic there, just a little bit of a turn, and that is like a very little bit of a turn. Just snug, pretty much, is all you do.
Okay,
So it is seated down there, it's snug. Like I said, just get that flush with that and snug in there, and that's tight. So now we can drain the oil out of the bottom of the oil pan, and then we will add fresh oil to this engine of the 3.6 Pentastar. So here's the oil drain plug on this vehicle. It's going to be on your right side or passenger side of the vehicle. We have our exhaust that comes from the front because it's the V6, and so you just know that it's on the driver's side. So this is a size 13. Now this motor also has almost 5.9 quarts, almost 6 quarts. So you're going to want to make sure your drain pan is large enough to hold that amount of oil. So here's the old drain plug that was removed, and we're missing the O-ring gasket. It was stuck to the drain pan, and it definitely shows a lot of signs of wear. So I went and got a new drain plug, right, with the rubber gasket that's intact, and now we can go ahead and put our new drain plug in. Clean off the oil, and like I said, we've got that new drain plug with the new rubber gasket. Whether you've got rubber gasket or whether you have a copper washer, you should want to replace those every single time, or definitely when they're showing major signs of wear like that one did, and the gasket showed signs of wear. These are fairly cheap. You can get them at any regular auto parts store for your specific vehicle. So now we have put the drain plug back on. Now all we got to do is add oil to the vehicle. And so back here up top, this is where you would add our oil to the vehicle. And so this takes about 6 quarts. So you put your oil of preference in here. This says it takes a 5W20. So you'd put the 5W20 weight in there. And then also takes 5.9 quarts. And then you'd start the engine and check after it falls down, because then you're going to get some oil that's going to be in the oil filter itself. And then you're going to check your dipstick and to make sure that we have the oil inside the safe line. After adding oil, you may want to use a funnel so you don't spill it around. And then you also will want to put this cover back over if you removed it, for the ease of accessibility. And that would be how you change your engine oil on a 3.6 Pentastar motor of the V6. Thanks for watching YOUCANIC, where you can be the mechanic.